Okay, let's set the scene. It's 9 p.m. The kids are finally down. You are sitting at your kitchen counter, wrapping things up for the day. You're answering DMs, you're sending out that last proposal, you're, doing your inbox, like whatever it is, and you're like, this is the last time I'm gonna do this. But you know that tomorrow night you're gonna be in the exact same position. Your business is working, right? Like you have clients, you are making money, maybe you even have a small team. But at the end of the day, if you were to go off the grid to Italy for 2 weeks, the entire business would stop. And the exhaustion of knowing that, of feeling like you constantly have to be moving, go, doing all of the things is just taking over your mental headspace. And you know that there has to be a better way. And there is a better way. I am here to help you with that and give you proof and show you the roadmap of how you can make $30K a month, having a team, working less hours, not even having a team, just working less hours, having more systems in place where you are not the one that is constantly keeping the engine going. And we're going to do that today, talking about why you're capped, how to change that, the predictable growth method to getting to 30K months, and what those next steps will look like. What I'd like to think, or what I probably know, is that you are closer to 30K months than you actually think. And the reason why I chose 30K and not 20K is because you can, if you're a super hard worker and you are just like putting in all of the work, you can get to 20K months. Like I really, really do believe that. But getting to that next level of 30, 40, 50K requires you to think completely differently. Think and operate differently than where you are now. So like I do believe that from 0 to 20K, you kind of operate at like in the same way. But once you go beyond that, you tend to, like, you have to think differently and you have to operate in a different way than you did before then. And getting to that 30K is like, you're able to pay yourself a decent salary. You're able to get the help that you need that feels good. You're able to increase your prices. You have even more proof of concept. And 30K is $360,000 a year. And that's just like getting over and past that like 200, 250K map or revenue cap that you can get, that you want to get more intentionally. And more for you right now listening to this, you're like, oh my gosh, like more revenue just equals more hours. So success just feels so far away. And this is usually where my bread and butter is I can like look at someone who's working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, clawing their way to 20K months or 200 a year, whatever that equals. And really evaluate what we're doing and what we're not doing. So I'm going to walk you through that method and how, like, what you can do starting today to get over that hump and have 30K be your energetic minimum or your revenue minimum that you're making every single month, working less than you are. And I have literally seen this. Like, I have multiple clients who within 3 months of working together completely tripled their revenue and by working less hours. And I've done it myself as well. So I know that this works. And what I want you to know too is you're not a bad business owner. I know for me, I was like, I'm a terrible business owner. I don't know what I'm doing. How am I ever going to get there? I'm completely capped. And to be quite honest, that's how I'm feeling right now. And I'm in the middle of changing like my back end structure and the capacity in which I'm assisting clients. And it's because I want to get to that, 40, 50K consistent months and know that I cannot operate at the way that I'm operating now in order to get there. So it's going to take you're always going to be optimizing and switching things up. And that's the best thing about business. But all that to say, you're just maxed out. And the way, what's that like cliche quote? What got you here won't get you there. that's exactly what I'm saying. Like what you've done up until now is absolutely amazing. Don't discredit that. You're not a bad business owner. You need to do something totally different in order to get to that next level. And like I said, the answer is not working more or having more childcare. I know we'll do this loop where it's like, oh, like when this client gets offboarded or this project gets done, or after I have more childcare or I have more time, then I'll be able to X, Y, Z. And we need to get out of that mindset loop because you are building a business for the season of life right now. Like you are going to be busy. You are a mom and an entrepreneur. Kids are going to be sick. Like I had 2 sick kids yesterday with fever laying on the couch. I didn't get anything done. You are going to have, school plays and school pickup and sports and family time and vacations. Like that is not ever going to end, which is so amazing and such a blessing. So you need to build your business build your business around the season of your life, not life right now, and not waiting until you get to that next step. So we want to set that up for you and just remove that mindset loop again of like maybe next time or when, because that's just going to be procrastinating and you're just going to end up continuing to operate exactly as you are now and just be burnt out and capped at your revenue ceiling. And that is just not what I want for you. So let's dive into the predictable growth method. Hi, I'm Olivia Austin, and this is Behind the Design. Let's get into it. Okay, so recently behind the scenes, I've been putting together this like methodology of how I scaled my businesses and how I help other people do it. At this point, I've probably helped over 400 business owners scale their businesses. And it's been a combination of branding, brand strategy, consulting, business coaching, all of that. And that's been over the last 9 years. And what I've learned is all in this method, the predictable growth method. And the season that I've been in business over the last 3 years is how can I make more working less? And that's really what this methodology has come to. I literally hopped on a one-to-one call with a client the other day and I was like, all right, like what's the goal here? Like what are we working towards? And she was like, well, I just want to make a lot of money and not really work. And I was like, okay. You're going to have to work a little bit, but we can make that happen. So just getting clear on like what the goal is, but that's really what I want for you is I want you to not be hustling 24/7, to be super present with your kids and making $30K a month, loving your job, not resenting it, and vice versa. So that is how I came up with this method, and I'm still refining it, but I know that this works because, like I said, I've helped hundreds of business owners do this as well as myself, and this is how you're going to blow past the revenue ceiling that you're currently in and scale with intention. So the very first part, there's 4 parts to this framework: align, optimize, amplify, and elevate. And the very first one, and the goal of this methodology is that it doesn't end at elevate, right? At every stage of business, you're going to have to continue to cycle through these because you are going to be a different person and your business is going to be different after you get through all of these different cycles. They're going to be different at every single stage. If you are making $5K a month and you want to get to $30K a month, if you're making $15K and you want to get to $30K, if you're at $30K and you want to get to $50K, you are going to have to continuously cycle through these. And I also want to remind you too, like if you are a mom and you're listening to this, like this is your superpower. Like what were we even doing before we had kids? And how were we not millionaires? Like that's what I need to know is you have restraints around your time, which I think we can sometimes see as a burden. However, this is a blessing because we can completely remove anything that doesn't matter because we have such time constraints around our schedule. So the very first thing is align. You want to get the foundation working for you, not against you. I want to get you to get out of feeling like an employee of your business and realign to be a business owner that is leading your clients, leading a small team, leading your family, whatever that means for you. So the very first thing you're going to do is audit your messaging. Get so hyper specific on who you are, who you serve, your positioning in the market, your messaging, how you're speaking to these people. Like, you need to know exactly how you stand out, what your UVP is. And this really does come down to brand. I know a lot of you listening might be brand and website designers, so you feel really confident in this. But if you are listening to this and you're like, oh, I just like don't know what that even means or what to do, just really, really think about how you stand out and what the type of business you want to have. Like, even beyond the $30K a month, like, what does your business look like that's operating at $1 million in revenue? What does it look like if you have a small team? Like, what is your role and how do you envision the business in 3 or 5 years? And then start operating that way now. So really align your positioning, because that is what's going to speak to your ideal client and what's going to make them be like, okay, yes, she gets it. That's exactly, like, she's the right person for me. And with that, after you know that, refine your offers to reflect that result that you're giving the client. So this is the biggest mistake that I see people making, is their offer suite does not align with what their ideal client needs, or there's so much scope creep. So like, when the year that I tripled my revenue, I was offering way too many things for way too little money. Once I doubled my prices and then I delivered less, clients went from seeing me as, just someone that's like offering all of these services to someone who is like providing results and a consultant, because I was giving them that you have a goal, here's what I have to offer. I also removed any other competing offers. So if you have like a mini something and then like the standard, and then you have like all these different offers, tighten up your offer suite so that you don't, confused buyers don't buy. So tighten up your offer suite, and then also too, look at your pricing. Like, where is the money leaks? Where are you with your revenue goal and how much you want to work? What's your hourly rate? How much do you have to charge in order to be able to work that many hours or that many weeks per year? And make sure that those all align and those, like, it makes sense together. And a lot of times, like, this is something that I do, one of the very first things that I do with consulting clients. And this makes the biggest impact, because chances are that you are over delivering and undercharging, which is like one thing. So that's like in the back end, like once someone is like inside your system. And then on the front end with potential clients, they're confused they don't completely understand or see you as the way to get them the results that they're looking for. So you really want to tighten those two things up on the front end and the back end. And that there's potential for that to increase your bottom line by 5 to 10K per month right there. Now, the second one is optimize. Build the systems that hold while you're at the park, while your kid is napping and you can do a workout. You have to have systems. What I see a lot in early stage, or like when you're getting to that 20K a month, or like you're just like overworking, is everything is in your head. You are doing everything and anything, and you don't think that anyone else can handle it, or you just quote unquote don't have the time to like put it all onto paper. But getting your systems in place and having your systems operate for you, like for example, someone can go on your website, they can fill out a form, they can schedule a call, they'll get an automatic calendar invite, and they like fill out whatever form, and then you just have to show up to the call. After the call, you click 1 to 2 buttons and they immediately get contract, invoice, their portal, and schedule the next call. Like, those are all things that can be automated that I see so many people like manually doing. And not only that, if you do have a small team, like if you're operating at that like 15 to 20K mark, I could assume that you have at least one person on your team, empowering them and also making things not as manual for them as well. So your systems, what I want you to look at is where are you the bottleneck? Are you the bottleneck in client communication? Are you the bottleneck in deliverables to clients? Like, find out where you're the bottleneck and what's the most challenging thing. And let's say you are going to Italy. Again, I'm just using Italy because this is what I did last September. But like, you're going to Italy for 2 weeks. Where would the biggest bottleneck be? What would stall the entire business? And stall as in what would not get sent to clients, and where would the lead pipeline stop? If that's in like content creation, if that's in sales calls, whatever it is, like where would the operation of the business stop? And figure out how you can get that going, how you can remove yourself from that system, because those are the two most important things. So really think about where you're holding everyone back. And this was for me, like we did in like, I think it was 2022, we did an entire systems overhaul. We overhauled our entire systems because I was the bottleneck. We used to have all client communication via email, and it would get sent to my email. And I am terrible at answering emails. It's hard for me to get back. I would have 50 to 100 emails at any given time. And it just was like way too much for me. So I would get an email from a client. I wouldn't be able to respond for like a day or 2 days when all I needed to do was like forward the instructions to my team. So I was the bottleneck, and I realized that, that's where the bottleneck was happening for me. And so we overhauled our systems so that all client comms were in ClickUp. I hired a project manager, and I was completely removed from any sort of like feedback requests or anything. So things could keep going forward. And all I was having to do was like review and make sure everything was good to go before it was sent to the client. So nothing was getting held back anymore. So just get really clear on like where you are the bottleneck and like the main challenge that you're having and where the main challenge that your team is having, and start from there. Real quick, if you're someone who's been listening to this and thinking, okay, but how do I actually make this work around my life? I made something for you. It's a free workbook called 6 Figures, Part-Time Hours, The Ambitious Founder's Guide to Building Without Burnout. For the last 3 years, I've worked 3 days a week running 2 businesses that make multiple 6 figures per year separately, and this work is the exact framework that makes this possible. You'll get hyper clear on what's holding you back, where to focus, and what your exact next steps are to remove overwhelm and start to thrive in business and life. It's completely free. Check out the link in the show notes to download it now. Okay, back to the episode. Okay, and then the third one is amplify. Turn what's working into something predictable. So a lot of times, like what I was saying, like you can get to 10 to 20K a month basically on like referrals and just flying by the seat of your pants. But if you want to be more intentional, have a pipeline that's working, have a business that's working when you're not working, you need to get so clear on a predictable lead gen. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is by actually showing up and experimenting and being consistent with your marketing. So I have a client who is like, when I post on Instagram, I get a client, but I'm not posting on Instagram. Like, what are you doing here? You know that that's how you're getting clients, then we need to double down on that and become visible and be in front of like the people that are going to keep business going. Now that's somewhere where a system can be put in place. She could could have someone assist her in like, creating like portions of the post. She could, have some sort of like template that she uses to create posts, like whatever it is. But I encouraged her to look at the type of posts that convert the most and just stick to that. Because I think sometimes we're like, oh, what do I need to do? Like, what type of post should I create? Like when I create something like it doesn't even convert, like you need to look at what is actually converting and then double down on that. If you're like, I don't even do any marketing, so I don't even know where to start, just start and experiment and play around with different modes and mediums and type of content. And then from there, like double down after you've been consistent for like 30 days. But I think the most important thing is picking one repeatable lead source and going through this. And I talked about this on our marketing strategy podcast episode a few weeks ago, so I don't want to harp on it too much because you could go and listen to that. But just getting really clear and just like doubling down and looking at the metrics. I think a lot of times we're like trying to do all of the things because there's Substack and Threads and Pinterest and TikTok and Instagram, when in reality, like you just need to be what's easiest and where your ideal clients actually are. You don't need to be like on all of the things. So that's on the top of the funnel. Now, back of funnel, you have monthly recurring revenue. And this is where so many people leave money on the table. You already have paying clients who love you, adore you, have seen your results. Let's turn a one-time client into a lifetime client. This can increase your bottom line like immensely. I don't even know how to explain it. Like I had a client a few years ago who went from like 10K in monthly recurring revenue to like 50K in monthly recurring revenue, not even including top of funnel, like getting clients in through her main offer. So, you know, you're turning in a 10 to 15K client to a $60,000 client after, you know, 2 years, and you're increasing your bottom line. So month after month, you know that you already have predictable revenue. So where can you build that retention point? Like, what is something that clients continuously come back to you for? What are they asking you? What do they actually need? Where can you build that monthly recurring revenue where you aren't starting from scratch every single month? And that's another way to make quote unquote passive income. I think people are like, oh, I need to have a digital product or a course or something like that. But if you can get your MRR up to 15, 20K a month, and you have a smaller team that's like operating and helping you facilitate that, there is potential for like really high profit margins. So just something to consider there, but always like thinking of like, how can I continue to support clients going forward that can increase my bottom line? And I'm not always just like trying to get new clients and more clients when you already have clients who have worked with you and seen your results. For example, like if you're a designer, you can do some sort of like monthly retainer. I have a private coaching client right now who she does a lot of like e-com brands, and she offers like email templates or email design and ad design. And she has a super easy system to do that. And it's kind of a no-brainer for clients, and it has increased her MRR a ton. I don't have like great metrics on that right now, but I can report back. If you're a coach doing some sort of like 6 to 12 month mastermind or some sort of container that way where you have that predictable revenue. If you're a VA or an OBM doing like a 6-month commitment or something like that, like having boundaries around the way that and the capacity that people can work with you in. And this frees up your hours because predictable leads and repeat clients means that growth doesn't stop depending on whether you're working or not. And that's really what we're trying to remove, is that like you equals working is, or money equals you working is not the type of business that you want to be. That's just like you, an employee of your business, versus you being the business owner. Okay, and then the last part of the framework is elevate. And this is leading the business instead of working in it, which is what I just said. And what you're going to do here is, what is your role in the company? Identify what you want to be doing, what you should be doing, what lights you up, what you want to be doing on a day-to-day basis. And then everything from there needs to be automated, delegated, whatever that looks like for you. And identify the one task that you're doing that isn't actually a 30K a month task. Like if you are answering emails, or you're making small tweaks to something, or you're doing something that you know you shouldn't be doing, then that needs to be changed. Either like completely taken off of your plate, or something that needs to be tabled to something else, or something that could be automated. You want to know, even before you make a hire, let's say you're like not quite ready to hire, still name that task and know that this is the lowest hanging fruit that's going to be loaded off of your plate when you're ready. Another way to elevate, or like another part under the elevate stage, is boundaries. Like really looking at your calendar, your client boundaries, what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept. Clients who are tripling, quadrupling, doubling their revenue, they are at first, they're, letting clients book calls whenever they want. They're WhatsApping clients. They're texting them. They're getting their Instagram messages, like doing all of those things. When you want to create those boundaries and have them work into your process and your life and your season of life that you're currently in. You need to have a day that you don't take calls, certain times that you log off. Like, you want to be in control of your agenda and create those boundaries so that, again, you have the time to work on business development, to grow, to focus, and then do your role in the business without feeling like completely taken over. Another part of this is high performance habits. So building one habit that doesn't just output. And what I mean by that is like a non-negotiable, something that you're not producing, because busy is not a badge of honor, like I've said before. So you want to have some sort of habit that's like getting you to that next level. Like if your goal is to be making $30K a month by working less because you want to be present at the end of the day and also want to go to yoga in the middle, twice a week, you need to start doing those habits now. You need to start going to yoga now. You need to put away your phone and not be answering emails when you're doing bedtime routine and playing with your kids after a day of work. Start doing it now. Like I've said so many times before, goals are a place to come from, not a place to get to. So you just want to start acting as that person who's operating at that level now and do something day by day. And those small little intentional habits will just become your entire personality. This is the pillar that makes the other three sustainable. Again, you cannot align your business because if you don't have the time on your calendar to do that. You can't optimize the systems because you don't have the space to do that. You can't amplify and focus on marketing because you are too busy doing client work that is that you're undercharging for. So really focusing on how you want to show up as a leader, how you want to show up as a business owner, and then implementing that mindset and habit hacks are going to hold you into having those 30K months. Okay, so just going through them again, we have the predictable growth method. We have align, which is going to be your positioning, your pricing, and your offer suite. We have optimize, which is your systems, like removing you from the bottleneck and making things happen even when you're on vacation, at the park, cooking dinner with your family. There's literally nothing better than being at the beach and getting an invoice notification or getting a new lead notification. Seriously, the best. And then third is the amplify, is just focusing on marketing and being ruthless about exactly what's converting. And then fourth is elevate, showing up as the leader who already is, making 30K a month, working less while being present as a mom. And I know this works because I have done it for myself and I've helped so many others do it as well. When I became a mom, I knew something had to change. I was operating at a super high level, but was also working 50, 60 hours a week and knew that that was not the type of mom that I wanted to be. I was overcomplicating business to an extreme. And I think that we do this a lot too, especially a lot of us didn't start to, it's just like motherhood, right? You don't know anything about business when you first start. You start business because you want to, why you started your business. For me, I wanted freedom. I never thought I would be operating at this level. And then same thing with motherhood. They give you this baby at a hospital and you're like, what the heck? What do I do now? And we make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. I want you to really take this episode to simplify everything. It can be so much easier than we are making it. We have everything set up. Going through this predictable growth method is only going to just elevate. And the goal for you is to be making $30K a month, like working part-time hours. And it becomes much more tangible when you put action behind it rather than just a dream or something that can happen. So I'm going to leave you with this. If you disappeared for a week, would your business still run? And if the answer is absolutely not, SOS, help, then I want you to think about where the biggest bottleneck and where, like after listening to this, you know exactly what you need to work on and just focus on that one thing. And if you ever need help and you're like, I don't know what to do, then send me a DM on Instagram. I will be happy to help you figure out exactly what you need to be working on in order to make it happen. But I know that it's possible for you because I've seen so many other people do it and myself too. So give yourself the time to focus on you, your life, and your business, and it will change. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next week.